Looks like we're on our own. It's funny. Seems like yesterday Arcturus was the idealistic rebel crusader. Now he's the law and we're the criminals. Kills me to know that we helped him achieve his goals of conquest. Damn it. I shouldn't have let her go alone.
Hey guys, this is X, and welcome to another video. Rest assured, I will continue working on my World of Warcraft videos. I've been aching, actually, to get Ramparts to Part 2 finished, so that I can show you guys how much gold I made, and to go over some of the highlights of some of the fights in there. But I haven't had time to do much of anything recently with my new job, and with the holidays just finishing. So now I'm getting back into the groove of things. And I do play other games. I like to play several different types of games, Starcraft being one of them. So I'm sorry if this is disappointing to you, and if it's not something that you're looking forward to, but I do hope Starcraft fans out there will enjoy it, and I hope those of you who enjoy World of Warcraft will keep an open mind with me and just enjoy what I'm ready to show you. If not, feel free to just go ahead and skip out on this video. My next video will be part 2 of Ramparts, so you don't have too long to wait for that. Today an opportunity presented itself for me to create another type of video, which is this Starcraft video. A buddy of mine sent me a text telling me how much he hates this mission, which is mission 10 of the Terran campaign in the original Starcraft and not in Brood War. He's new to the game, so he doesn't know a lot of things that most of us more Starcraft savvy players know. Before I go too far into talking about how savvy I am, I do want to make a disclaimer. I am not the best Starcraft player. I don't claim to be. I am actually, as far as competitive Starcraft goes, and that's like those of you on Icy Cup and things like that, I'm one of the worst. I am D-. My record is something along the lines of like 0 and 14. So I don't claim to be the best. I'm just hoping to stave off some flamers here who would come onto the channel and leave some comments like, "Oh man, I can do so much better than you." I know you can do so much better than I can. Thankfully, from what I've seen in the StarCraft community, we don't have a whole lot of real jerks in it. Like, there's not a whole bunch of people in the StarCraft community who want to get in your face and just be angry. I do watch professional StarCraft through the English commentators, through SC2GG, such as Moltrap, Diggity, Cholera, Rise, and of course Klazart. So I do like to be a spectator of StarCraft for the most part, and I do play it very casually. And this is just an instance of me playing very casually. So anyway, the purpose of this video is for me to show my buddy how I got through this mission. The mission objective is to kill the ion cannon, which is up there in the top left of the minimap, and keep Raynor alive. That's all you have to do. It's the last Terran mission, so it's they try and make it as hard as they can for the Terran campaign. And now, thanks to my lengthy intro, I've skipped past a lot of the beginning part, but that's okay. I'm just going to go ahead and explain the basics of what you should be doing in the very early game. And that is primarily you're going to want to build in a certain order. You're going to want to build your barracks, and once your barracks is done, lift it off, and then move it to the same spot where I've moved it, just above my troops, a little bit further north. So you'll build your barracks, lift it off, and then you'll want to get your academy down, and as soon as your academy is done, see, there's my barracks. As soon as your academy is done, build your comsat station so it can begin charging up energy. Most likely, while your academy is building, you're going to want to build your factory, and then your engineering bay. As soon as your factory is done, put a machine shop on it so that you can begin researching siege tech, because you've already got 2 tanks. The game starts you with 2 tanks, and you want to get them siege moded, or you want to get them the ability to siege mode right away. And after that, you want to build your armory. So if that sounded a little bit confusing, let me go ahead and simplify it. You're going to want to build them in this order: barracks, academy, factory, engineering bay, armory. Barracks, academy, factory, engineering bay, armory. That's the order you want to build them in. Once you have these structures down, try and get them down as quick as you can. But make sure at the same time you're building up plenty of supply depots, and you keep producing SCVs, because the more SCVs you have, the better your economy will be. Don't overdo it. Try to make sure you don't have more than 2 SCVs per mineral node, per patch out there, because that's just overkill, and you're wasting supply at that point. But yeah, build those 5 structures in that order, making sure to add your comsat in your machine shop as you can, and lift off the barracks and the engineering bay. You're not going to be using them yet. You won't be using the engineering bay for anything. You just build it so that you can build turrets. And the barracks you might want to use later. I ended up using it. I don't normally use it when I play this mission. Lifting off your barracks and your engineering bay does two things. Number one, it gives you more space. They give you a limited amount of space to build in this mission, to build your primary base, to build your main base. So you want to use as much of it as you can. So you lift off these two buildings, that gives you more space. Number two, if you'll get a glimpse whenever I scroll over there, you'll see that since the buildings are flying, you get sight up on the edge. And using your engineering bay, you can take out that first Marine on the edge using Raynor. Which you saw me do earlier. You might want to scroll back to see it. I couldn't quite explain it because I've had to try and catch up because of my lengthy intro. In any case, I've built up a small little force here. Once my siege tech is done and my siege tank is ready to fight, I send them out with some of my starting Marines and Firebat with one tank. And I'm just going to build up a few more units. You'll see I've also placed a second factory up at the top. I don't like to build it down at the bottom because the machine shop makes it an awkward shape. My tank went a little bit too far over here, and so I just dragged that Marine back to my own Marines, and we take care of them that way. But in any case, oh, this is another thing that's really important. And I'm sorry for those of you who, of course, already know this, but some people might not. So in any case, you don't want to fight on the low ground. I had to at this point, but for the most part, you want to try and fight on the high ground as much as you can, because there is a mischance when you're on the low ground. Enemies shooting... I'm sorry, your units shooting enemy units at the top will miss the enemy units, but the enemy units won't miss you. So, yeah, the high ground is a significant advantage in Starcraft, so you're always going to want to try and fight there whenever you can, and I'll show you more about that a little bit later in this game. Now we're moving into the mid-game, and there's one very important thing that I want to point out in the mid-game here. Let me just go ahead and pause the screen here so you can see it. And there it is. Notice this defensive setup. I set the turret out a little further ahead from my bunker and my tank. This is because the enemy AI in this mission wants to throw nukes at you, but it's afraid to throw nukes if it gets within a detector's range, which is that turret. That turret is a detector, so it can see cloaked units. So the enemy, instead of actually nuking your base, will instead just nuke that one turret. And that lets you sustain very minimal damage when you hear the nuclear launch detected bit, and it lets you easily recover. So that takes off a lot of the pressure of this mission, so it's very important that you get that setup built. And as I mentioned, we're entering the mid-game here, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to build your 2 starports and get control towers on both of them as you enter the mid-game, and it's also time to start moving out. It's time to start clearing a path and securing that second base. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We've got enough troops to do it now. You should have been building your units while you were building up your defensive structure in the early game. And now you should have a fairly sizable force to move out with. And as you can see, I do. I have a couple of Goliaths, 4 siege tanks, that's more than enough. So I siege up my siege tanks in the middle of the low ground here. And then I use my comsat station to get sight on the high ground. And that lets me take down the enemy units who are on the high ground and bring them down to me. And my tanks and Goliaths just take care of them from there. Now we'll just take our military units and make our way to the high ground. I'm also going to land my barracks up on top of the high ground because I feel a little bit sparse as far as my military is concerned, and I decided to go ahead and make use of it. It's there, I'm going to go ahead and use it this time. Marines are very, very cheap to produce, so I'm going to use some Marines to supplement my next attack.